Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today. What's today? Oh, 23rd of January, sometime during the day. Hopefully, everybody had a good couple days off. If you took a couple days off, I know I took a couple days off. Black screen. And hello, Harry and Shlove. I took a couple days off. I didn't do almost any programming. I spent a couple hours on Sunday getting the pre-recorded examples done for this week. But besides that, I just played Guild Wars 2 all friggin' weekend. So today we'll work on other stuff. Hello, Mario, and hello, Learning Man. Let's see. I want to ask how to swap a character. Instead of swapping the skeletal mesh inside a character, I want to swap the whole character. Any notes for me doing that? Define swapping a character. Do you mean I'm controlling one character right now and then I want to control a different one? Sounds like that's kind of what you want to do. And if so, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. If I can... YouTube has a black screen. See, you know what? YouTube gave me that issue the other day, and then everyone said it was fine. Let's see. I can just paste going right to it. Let's see. YouTube has a black screen. See, you know? Nope, YouTube's working. It just doesn't like you. But everything should be up. Yeah, so Learner Man, give me a little more information on what you mean by swapping. If I can find my... stupid playground, wherever I put it. Where is my playground? Yeah, my playground. And yeah, what Harry is saying is basically what I was going to attempt to... I'm assuming you want to do. It's basically you're going to possess is what you're going to do. Which technically I had a video planned on that and I kind of never did it. But I can quickly maybe knock something out here while we're waiting for his answer and see if we're on the right track here. Granted, I haven't actually ever done this. I usually only control one thing at a time. But Harry definitely would have the ability to know this one. Let's see, where'd swap character go? But you know what? Maybe someone else will want information on this. I might as well see if we can just knock this out, because why not? Because I think we can do this fairly simple, right? It's more like select a character. Go to game and play with the character you selected. Yeah, actually, that's the funny part. I want to say... Yeah, right here. Character select. Way back in the day. I actually have that on there. Never actually finished it. Let's see if we can do something basic. So, let's see. Which blueprint character select. So, let's say... Actually, where's my game mode? Let's set our game mode to nothing. So we don't spawn in a character. Yeah, unfortunately we still have this stupid thing, which is super annoying. But, it's not really too much of an issue here. Now, in terms of choosing characters, do you have any idea what you mean by how you want it set up? Like, you're just gonna have like a fighting game character type thing, or it's gonna be something different? So, like in this case, let's see. If I were to quickly do this, how would I do it? Let's find out. That's button 1 and that's button 164. That's not what I want. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, this is just off the top of my head. Let's see if this would work. Spawn actor from class. What the hell did I call it? Swap. Swap character 1. This should fail because of the transform. And do I need to call possess on the control? No, right? Yeah, spell possess, right? Yeah, possess on the pawn. Okay, so I do need to call it on the controller. Okay, so let's see what happens if we do this, shall we? Oops, I actually kind of need to put it in the screen. That would be helpful. Let's see. In case, yeah, learning. If you just pop out some more information, don't mind what I'm doing right now. I'm basically doing this in fast forward, trying to get something that might work, and then we can go from there. Because even though it's on my list, I've never actually done this. I know a couple of these things aren't going to work right. This is not good, but I'm going to go ahead and do this anyways. Because I'm not going to be able to get rid of my user interface, but I'm not worried about that for now. This is just to simply getting it working and seeing if we can get it working, basically. Okay, there's my user interface. Yeah, see, there we go. So that does that. We still probably have our original pawn in here. Default pawn, yeah. Which isn't going to go away, probably because of the fact that... Can you not spawn in a default pawn? I've never... I don't really know. Because obviously... default pawn, even though I have it set to none, is still spawning in a default pawn. I'll have to figure that one out. But let's see, do that, and then let's see, I'll click button 2. Go over here, we'll duplicate the code. This is all, a lot of this is unnecessary code because we're like duplicating a lot of the stuff. But not too much of an issue. Let's see, swap character 2. Where did I put him? There he is. Okay, so, and then we would set input game. And then get controller. Feed this into the game and set show mouse cursor to false, and then we're going to focus. Viewport. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Push 1, there's my character, move him around. Okay, so that works in theory. Let's go ahead and open up character 1. Let's find his mesh. Let's find his body. Let's grab that. We should be able to instance this. Like that. Figure out where I put my example. Swap character, there we go, move it here. Now let's see, this will be the swap character, whoops, material swap character 1. And then we will duplicate this and swap character 2. We have a color, body color here, and we'll set this to red because we can. This is just to give us an easy way to differentiate between our first and second so we can verify that they are working properly. There we go. We can swap that. Swap character 1 is going to use the material for character 1 right there. And then find character 2. And find, where's that mesh? And find character 2. Like that, okay. So now we should be able to verify character 1 loads in, character 2 loads in. Okay, so that's the basics right there, honestly. Obviously, I've got some really crappy handling of my buttons and my UI. I can destroy myself, though, right? Can't I? Destroy. Wait, it would be remove. Yeah, not remove. Yeah, see, this is still not good. Because of the fact that technically we're still in here referenced by, I don't know, we're not in the viewport anymore, and technically we're not saving a reference. That might work. There we go. We still have some funkiness in the fact that, you know, let's see if we can, where's my character level? Can we get rid of the default pawn? I don't know, I've never tried it. Default pawn. Get. Okay, get. Thank you. Destroy. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay. Are we falling through the world? Let's find out. Let's hit play. Let's eject. Okay, yeah, it's going to basically put us at 0, 0, which is kind of what I wanted in the first place. Cool. Okay, so that works. So if we go to our character select, UI, let's find ourselves an image, because images are awesome. Of course, I scrolled right past it. There we go. Plop that in there. Set our image to the background. Set it to full screen. Set it to something other than a really annoying color like that. Give our button some text. Give our button some text. Okay, seriously, I missed twice. There we go. Red dude. And then we have the green dude. Green dude. Okay, let's give it some padding just because I really don't like the way this is looking. And of course our buttons are not set to size, so whoop, like that, there we go. Obviously this is a horrible, horrible example of a user interface, but the goal was to make something functional. There we go. And then green dude. Wow, there we go. Okay, so now that we got something working, let's see if we can cover the code, and then hopefully you can get the basics here. So we have 2 characters, and these are like you want unique characters in the world. So this could be, you know, you could have Zangief, you could have Dalzim, you could have Ken, you can have Ryu, you can have Chun-Li, you can have Cammy, you can have as many characters as you want. It doesn't matter. You have your unique characters, which is what you want. And I've set up the game mode so it has none for the default pawn class. With none as the default pawn class, for whatever reason, it still spawns in a stupid default pawn, which isn't much of an issue. Inside of, let's close down everything except what I'm going to talk about. Inside of our level map. Now, this isn't necessarily the best place to put it, but this is just so we can get something working. We're creating our widget for our character select screen, adding it to the viewport, setting our interface mode to UI so we can click on stuff, showing our mouse. Then we are grabbing all of our default pawns, since one spawns in, and destroying it. So that lets us, if we were to hit play and then eject, there's no default pawns in here and my character can't move at all. Yep, Learning Man, I am, I'm going over it now, basically. This will also be recorded for later, and I will slowly go over each of the things before I move on to the next thing. But basically, like I was just saying, and I kind of got myself lost, we're just throwing a user interface on the screen, making us able to select it, and then getting rid of our default pawn that spawns in because it does for some reason. I don't know why. We don't need it, we get rid of it. What matters is our actual character select screen. And this is our screen that has a red dude and a green dude button. And it's really simple. By default, because we have set up our game mode to not spawn in a default pawn, that means we're not going to spawn in anything. Technically, we spawn in and possess a default pawn. So again, even though it says none, we are spawning one in. And we possess it, but by doing that little bit of code here, we get rid of it right when we start. So at this point in time in the game, we're controlling nothing. There's no characters in the game. Our player controller has nothing. Inside of our character select screen, we have the code that matters. We click a button. We spawn in the appropriate character. So in this case, the red one or the green one. And then we call possess using our player controller on whatever we just spawned in. So this is basically telling our player controller, hey, you now want to control that pawn. And it's the same for either one, as you can see here. The difference is I'm spawning in either the red or the green guy. The code itself doesn't matter. After that, I'm giving our input back to the player. So I'm setting it back to game mode, or else we wouldn't be able to control our character. Hiding our mouse cursor. Setting the focus to the game viewport. And you do that so that way it's not sitting there. This basically lets your game viewport have the focus rather than it thinking you still have the mouse control. So it prevents issues like I need to click on the game in order to control my character. And then we're removing ourselves after we have clicked on something. So basically this user interface is taking care of itself. One thing that we could do that would be pretty, as an addendum to this, for example, we'll go into each of our characters. Now, I'm going to delete some extra crappy code because this is all crappy code. More than likely, you would either have this in the player controller, or you would have a parent character class that handles the base movements, so all of your input doesn't have to be duplicated. In this case, actually in this case, why don't we just create a player controller and use that? Because we can. So never mind, I'm going to take that back. You should do it something like this. Player controller, swap character. We'll go ahead and assign the player controller here, so we make sure we use it. We'll run our thing to make sure it shows up, and it does not because this thing hates me. This is one issue you'll run into. I don't know why. The bug should have been fixed in 4.14, but for whatever reason, the player controller, not the player controller, the game mode doesn't seem to work properly. Oh, I'm also using the wrong freaking game mode. Son of a... Okay, so let's ignore everything I've said so far at this point, because I think I accidentally... Okay, let's see what happens if we disconnect this. I think I basically just did a dumb thing. Yeah, okay, so remember I said it shouldn't be spawning in a default pawn, and I didn't know why it was spawning in a default pawn? Well, that's because I never actually told it to use my new game mode. So we were using the default game mode, and the default game mode does have a default pawn. So if you were actually doing this properly, you wouldn't have had the issue that I just described. So we can get rid of this code. We don't need to destroy the default pawn if we actually tell it not to use the default pawn, and we tell it to use the proper game mode. Okay, so back to what I was trying to say. So now that I have a proper player controller in here, let's test it. There's our player controller. We're good. We'll go into our player controller. We will add in a new keybind. So let's bind this to, I don't know, do I have anything set up in my playground? Let's see. I have a bunch of stuff actually. We're going to go with the input action button because we're going to do because I already have it set up. So we're going to call it input action. So input action. Now, if we do this, what we're going to do is we're going to get the control pawn, which doesn't work if you have it plugged in to the stupid execute wire. And I'll take the player controller. I know I technically did this backwards, but same result. So this will get us whatever pawn we're controlling, and then we'll just go and destroy it. We don't need to unpossess because we don't want it there anymore. So if this works and I hit the J key, I should disappear. Good. We're exactly where we should be. Now, obviously, I have an issue because I'm trying to do something here. Let's see. What am I trying to do? Oh, is my left button my action button? Oh, that's going to be funny. Yes, my left mouse button is also my action button. Okay. So, that's fun. Let's see, get control pawn. We'll do a valid check there because I was a dum-dum and didn't do this. There we go. So this is the proper way of doing this. What we're going to do is make sure we have a pawn we're controlling. If we do, we're going to destroy it. And then after we destroy it, we are going to show our interface. So technically this is something you'd want in there. So we already have an interface. We already have our map right here. So we can steal all of our code from here. We can put it into here like this. And that should be it. We technically have an issue here, but I think we can avoid it. Yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, so let's see what happens. Red dude, I hit the J key. Green dude, I hit the J key. Red dude, I hit the J key. If we look over here, for our characters we spawn in, we should see swap character 1. If I get rid of it, it should go away. And then swap character 2 should come in, and then we can repeat over and over. Yeah, so there's your basics. So hopefully that's easy enough to understand. I'm going to literally walk through the entire thing one more time, pausing on each blueprint so you could refer to it as later. If you have any questions in regards to how this is done or something else, feel free to just let me know. And to answer your question, James, I take requests for tutorials. You can either ask for them if I'm live, for example, and something I can help you with live, or if it's something more complex, you can add it to the blueprint list, which is on the YouTube About section, or you can ask for it here, and I can put it on the list, or email me. Technically, that's on the About thing. Add a comment to any of the live stream videos. Yeah, so I take requests provided it's something I can work on. It's something I haven't done before. If it's to show someone how to do something or show how to implement something, I'm more than happy to try to help. Okay, so, and actually right here, since I am, I'm going to do this. Here's our level blueprint. I'm going to kill our level blueprint. If you remember from the beginning, I mentioned that this was not the proper way to do it with the level blueprint. Well, we don't need to do that anymore. I don't want it done in the level blueprint. You would want this done somewhere else, is what you would want. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So we come in here. Now we don't have... I'm actually kind of curious here. Oops. There we go. So, where is my player control? Here we go. So we have an issue here where... Bloop, that was not hooked up. There we go. Okay. So inside of our player controller is our controller that controls our player. We have an event that when we push a button, something happens. Now you can set this up however you want. You could have this set up when it starts up. You can do whatever you want. So I grab and see if we have anything controlled. If we do have something controlled, I destroy it. If I don't have anything controlled, we just, or even if I did, but basically only if we have something controlled do we destroy it. A lot of this is personal preference, so you got to keep that in mind. This is just the way I set this up. You will have to adjust this as needed. But the key here is if we are controlling something and we want to swap, we need to delete what we're controlling. That's what this does. Then we go ahead and create our widget for our character select screen, add it to the screen, allow our mouse to interact with it by setting the input mode to UI only, and then showing the mouse cursor. So that is what takes care of me hitting the J key, and I have my character select bin. Once we're inside of our user interface here, we have this function, which is pretty similar. Basically, spawn in something, grab our player controller, and possess the something that we spawned. For anyone having issues with YouTube, you might want to switch over to either Beam or Twitch. I don't really know why it's having issues, but that's Twitch in the beginning, and that's Beam in the second. So I don't really know why YouTube is having issues, but there's some alternatives. But it will stay, so it's not really an issue. So after we spawn something in, possess whatever we spawned, and that basically gives us control over it. But since our input is still on the user interface, we now need to put it back to the game, hide our mouse cursor, set the focus to the game viewport, and then remove ourself, the user interface, because we don't need it anymore. And that's technically it. Those are the 2 blocks of code. The game mode is in here to set it up so we have no default pawn. So that way we're not trying to control ourselves without anything actually to be controlled. And our player controller is set up so we have the player controller with our custom code. And that's all you need. I mean, we hit the... I mean, technically, you start this up however you want. Red dude, swap characters, green dude. And there we go. There's our 2 characters. Mario asks, can you add a default character to the swap character? So what do you mean by that, Mario? You mean spawn in a default character, and then if I swap, I can swap to something else? And then James, thinking of timed events, like if you want lights to light when a game gets dark, I would love to be shown this. That is an idea. The easiest way to do that might be to have... I'm thinking the smartest way to do that, because basically you have events driven by time, is to use the event dispatcher system. So for example, you might have a master clock, a blueprint that basically keeps track of your clock. It increments itself maybe every minute to make it look like an hour's passed in game time or whatever. But you have a blueprint that's a master clock. And anything in the game that wants to know when the master clock hits a certain time can register with it. So for example, it can... your lights would register with the master clock. And then when the master clock hits a certain time, it can let anything that's registered with it know the time, and then the items can do things appropriately. And you could set up different events. So for example, you could set up an event for sunset, you could set up an event for sunrise, and then have your lights register with the clock to know when it's sunset or sunrise. The clock will notify those things when it's sunset or sunrise, and then your lamps or your light posts or whatever would adjust themselves appropriately. That's probably the easiest way of doing that. Start maybe with the character white. Okay, hold on a second. So let's see. Start maybe with the character, and after control, the default switch to the other guy's red and green. Well, I could start with the white character. That's not an issue. I can grab him, bring him in here. We'll copy him in here. We'll call this one swap character default. So that's not an issue. I can now grab my game mode and set up my default pawn to be our default character. So now when the game starts, it's our default character. If I hit the J key, I can swap back, and I can do whatever I want. And you can do this without the UMG screen. The UMG screen is just an interface for events right here. So if we wanted to do what you're suggesting, we would do something like this. Now, Mario, for your question, do you want all 3 of them on the screen? Or do you want to be able to basically swap? So, for example, I'm controlling the gray. If I push the 1 key, it now swaps to the green, and the gray is destroyed. Then I press the 2 key, the green one's destroyed, and the red one spawns, for example. Or do you want literally all 3 are on the screen, and I can swap back and forth in real time? I can basically jump back and forth. Both of them are doable. Which one are you asking about? And good morning, Sterling. And to answer your question in regards to that, James, if what I said wasn't enough, which I'm guessing it wasn't, let me know. I'll add that to my list here. I think that's something I could definitely do semi-recently. Yeah, so let's see. Where'd you write this? Timed events. Okay, so how could we write this out? Unreal concept, day, night, timed events, event triggers. Event triggers. Let's try that. can we set up a system where items can register with a timekeeper, and using event dispatchers, they get notified when the time changes and they can act accordingly. Voila. Something like that. Because that's something that shouldn't be too hard to do. Yeah, I can add that to the list, James. I don't know if I'd be able to get to it like today. So you want one on the screen, maybe move to a place, then press the key to disappear, and maybe spawn the red or green guy. Yeah, Mario, that's basically all the stuff I'm doing now. For example, let's grab. Let's grab. I only need one of these. Let me grab this code here. Let's set up a. Here, let's set up another blueprint. We'll call this one blueprint swap trigger. We're gonna go in here, and I'll show you this here in a second. Let's see, root. Get rid of the ugly white thing. We'll add a box collider like that. Trigger. We're gonna rename this trigger volume because that's what I am using it for. Whoops! I need the stupid overlap. On begin overlap. Boom. Pop our code into here like this. I don't know which one that is. We'll figure that out in a second. And then the easiest thing to do here. Oops, stop it. There you go. Would be to get again. Get player controller. Control pawn. Destroy. Now, technically, we don't want to do this yet. Let's do this the opposite direction, because I want to spawn and then destroy just so I still have access to the transform information. Storing the transform information would probably be smarter, but I don't really feel like doing that. Oops, come on. Because I want to grab the controlled pawn right here and grab where he is currently at. Transform. Because we can just plug our existing information into the spawn, so that way it spawns exactly where we're at. Destroy ourselves, possess the new one. Okay, so let's see what happens if we do that. So here's our little gray dude. If we walk over here, obviously I did something horribly wrong there. Spawn in, probably because of collision would be my guess, to be honest. Yeah, collision handling is probably an issue here. So we can't do it the cheesy way. So blah blah blah. Let's see, new variable. Temp transform. And I see a lot of chat going on right now, but let me see if I can get this working here. Okay, so now we're actually going to do that then. And then we'll go and destroy our target. So we'll go and destroy ourselves. And then we'll spawn in a new actor position. Let's see what happens though. Oops, that would be hitting the wrong button. There we go. Obviously I've got some other issues you can see here because I have other stuff being called, but I'm not really worried about that right now. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So what do we got here? Oh, that's a lot of chat. So yeah, James, I added that to the list. I'll go ahead and work on that as soon as I can. And looks like Harry is definitely giving you some information. Sterling, give me a second. Potatoes, I have no idea what a comment box is. Never used them. Learning Man, for the next live stream, it would be nice if you could show us how to start and stop music or just a noise by pushing a key. It just doesn't work for me. Let's see, Kamseya, you forgot to connect the focus widget. Well, I don't need to connect the focus widget if I'm not taking control away from the player. Since I'm never actually taking control from the player, I don't need the focus widget. And hello, the Mad Gunner. Okay, for the next live stream, it would be nice if you could show us how to start and stop music or just a noise by pushing a key. It just doesn't work. Go ahead and ask that question again here in a little bit, Learner Man. I should be able to show something. It doesn't. It should be pretty simple. Sterling, give me a second. I'm trying to figure out what I'm breaking here. I have a feeling it's my stupid UI code in my player controller. This stuff shouldn't be here like that. There we go. So let's see. So I'm still spawning in 2 of them, which I gotta admit, it's pretty friggin' cool. Because I literally don't know why that's happening. 2 things are calling overlap is why. Okay, yep. I bet you the player mesh and the component are calling overlap. Let's see. The nice thing is we can easily figure this one out. Not the component, the capsule. Yep, swap character 2 and swap character default. Oh, duh. When we spawn ourselves into the trigger volume, we are causing an overlap. Duh. That is why this is happening right here. So the question here would be, the easiest way of doing this, since we only want it to work once, is is triggered, set a boolean in here, set this to is triggered, and do an if check. I mean, the better thing might be to kill ourselves after we spawn or to do something else, but this at least should prevent us from triggering twice. Nope. Oh, probably set it to false to be smarter. Yep. I just randomly click on stuff. There we go. So that gets me the gray dude. I walk over to here, and then we go, and now I have control over the green dude. That should be the basics of what you're looking for there, Mario. In order to make it work with a key, you just basically take input while you're inside the area. So like, for example, once you overlap, you can have the player push a key, and then you can have them swap. So let's see. So right now we have it set where we walk in, it triggers, it swaps. If we wanted it to work on a key, so for example, input, oops, interact. What the hell did I call that friggin' button? Action, there we go, action. Actually, you know what? Let's just, let's set this up to 1. Let's try this. Okay, so all of this code, basically, we remove from here. We put it into here. And all we do on the component begin overlap is overlapping. Overlapping. And of course, this is not going to work because it's inside the stupid blueprint, and I'm a dum-dum. Okay, so Mario. Okay, so I'm not going to do this right now for one reason. In order to do something where you have to push a button, you're going to probably have to start working on interfaces and transferring controls, basically, not controls, but transferring state, just triggering other stuff from stuff. I guess that's the easiest way of saying it. And I'm not really going to cover that here. This is the basics, though, of what you're looking for. It's just when we overlap, that is when we're simply calling in our spawn and we're destroying ourselves. So here's the basic code right here. Hopefully this works at least to start, and you can use it in terms of the trigger version. So when we overlap, we're basically checking to see if we have already overlapped, if we're triggered. If we have not, then we are saying yes, we have. And this is to prevent us from re-triggering ourselves once we swap to the other character. So that's all this stuff does. Then we're storing the transform temporarily of the pawn we're controlling. So that way when we spawn in the new one, it's going to be in the same rotation and position. Then we destroy ourselves, the old one basically. Spawn in the new one, telling it to spawn where the old one was. And then we grab and we possess it. Same thing like we were doing with the user interface. If you were going to do this with a button press, for example, like you walked into this area, you push 1 to switch to green, 2 to switch to red, then your button presses will trigger your spawns. And then when you overlap it, you could basically just keep track of overlapping. So I walk into the area, set a variable somewhere that says can change equals true or something like that. Like I can change right now. Just a Boolean that says you can change. And then when you have your buttons, your whatever to actually do this code right here, you just simply check and see how am I able to transform? Am I able to swap? Has my overlap worked? And then since you have on the trigger volume, you have the end overlap one right here. You simply, when you walk into it, you say I can trigger, and when you leave, I can't trigger. And that's all you do. That's the easiest one for that one. Hopefully that helps for both you and the other person. If not, just let me know. There's the basics. I know Sterling has a question. Feel free to try to ask it if you can. For James, has anyone noticed that in the editor when you compile a blueprint, it deletes transforms? It shouldn't. The only thing I could think of is maybe have your code in your construction script and you're doing something in there and that's resetting your transform, because that will run every time you compile. I'm shocked I still run into rotation problems. Yeah, you're gonna run into rotation problems. If you don't use quaternions and you don't account for Gimbal Lock. That's what rotators are for. Rotators should help you get around Gimbal Lock. I'm guessing that might be the issue you're running into, Sterling. Okay, so for your question on that one, Sterling, are you adding to the existing rotation, or are you using a rotator to create the new rotation? And hello, James. Just answering questions right now. And Gimbal Lock is correct. Let's see if we can find something for Sterling. Rotate something. Blueprint. Rotate something. Start up a new map. Save everything. Drop our rotate something into here. Swap out our scene component for a new scene component. Let's see. Create a blueprint with 2 components. So let's add a sphere and let's add a cube. I'm assuming something like that. And that friggin' cube is ginormous. One is the child of another. On some user input, rotate the child a specific angle on one axis. Say 30 degrees over a specific amount of time, say 2 seconds. But in this, it has to rotate 30 degrees every time you hit the buttons. So, well, I know you wanted the childed, which kind of... So, okay, so there's a couple things here. Do you want it rotating around the parent, or do you want it rotating around itself in the local coordinate system? How do you actually want it rotated? That would be my first question. And second of all, you're referring to 30 degrees every time you hit the button. Is this an additive thing or just a replacement type thing? Like, for example, 30 degrees over 2 seconds. If I'm halfway through that, it's at 15 degrees now after 1 second, and I push the button again, am I now going to go 30 degrees over 2 seconds, so basically start over? Or I guess technically it would be additive no matter what. Well, no, or else would it become 60 degrees over 4 seconds? I guess that's the question. Yeah, so let's see what we can do here. Let's see, blueprint. Let's see if we can set this blueprint up to listen for input. Let's set this up to the T key, because hopefully I'm not using it. Let's make sure the T key works. Okay, cool. The T key works. Let's grab our cube and local rotation. Now, in theory, if we were to do it 30 degrees like this, every time we hit the T key, it should rotate 30 degrees. Okay, so we're good on that one. We can do that. Now he wants it lerped, in theory. So timeline. And then lerp. Stop it. Seriously? You're not gonna work? Lerp rotator. That's not gonna work. No, actually, that would be smarter. Lerp rotator, and then grab the cube, get the local rotation. Seriously, get rotation. Technically, yeah, this is gonna be relative to the parent, right? Okay, I gotta figure this one out. And then add rotators. Actually, combine. I think it's gonna be combined is what I want here. Bloop, 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 bloop. Times 0, 0. Time 2, 1. Put that in the alpha. And then set local rotation. Seriously, what's my cube? Okay, my cube. Set local rotation. Seriously, you're gonna do that again? No, I don't want to add. Seriously. Set relative rotation. They change those stupid names all the time. Okay, let's see what happens here, shall we? Because I honestly have no idea what's gonna happen. Woo! Okay, so obviously that was the incorrect way of doing it. No, the stream isn't dead. I'm here. A lot of people have been reporting weird issues with the stream disappearing. Where is my stream? No, it's still going. Let's see. Let's check out B. Well, Sterling's on Beam. Let's see, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I kind of got lost. No, it's not set local. It's set relative rotation, is what it is. Yeah, Sterling, chances are what you're running into is basically Gimbal Lock. It's because we're not creating rotators. So let's see if we can figure this out by not being stupid right now. Because this right here was where my initial issue came from, because I've done this so many times. This is just so stupid when you do this. You can't do this. You have to cache this before you start your stupid timeline. Because if you don't, you're just a dum-dum, and things will go all to hell in a handbasket because you're continually adding. which is not, that's not the first time I've done that one, like by any means. Okay, so we're gonna go from our cached rotation to the new rotation plus 30. Okay. Okay, so there is our 30 degrees over 2 seconds right there. But then we run into issues like that. Technically, if I keep hitting the T key, it's gonna just simply, yeah, see, so we're gonna run into problems like that. I have a feeling that's kind of what you might be referring to, where it just decides to do whatever the hell it wants while you're doing it. And that is the stupid gimbal lock, and that is the rotators. That is, and it's all about using the proper rotators, which is the issue. This is math, and these are where I run into an issue. I'm not going to joke about that. It's when it wraps around certain values, it does this issue. That's what the combined rotators is supposed to help with. And that's what using rotators is supposed to help with. It's supposed to stop this crap from happening. Yeah. So yeah, I am not going to argue with that one. Math, there we go. Yeah, combined rotators it's supposed to safely allow you to add 2 rotators together and give you back a valid rotator. That's the point of the rotators. See, because you have your rotation right here, so we could technically what was the easiest way of doing this one? Whoops. You could, because you could technically just add in straight floats, which should work. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. If you're doing straight floats for the rotation, so for example, your rotator, where's an object with my stupid details pad? If you're just taking and adding in theory, it could get locked. Like, for example, if you're at negative 180 and you tell it to add 10, instead of going to the number you expect, because it wraps around, because technically it's negative 180 to positive 180, which is super annoying, it causes an issue when it wraps around. Rotators are supposed to get past that issue, and it's supposed to allow you to not have the problem. Because if we just added floats, which is technically what I do when I rotate stuff, it should work properly, but it doesn't, obviously. So let's get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. Yeah, because see, all we want to do is set our start and our destination. So I wonder if there's a smarter way of doing this. Because I know when I do the add version, I never run into a real issue when I add. I wonder if we can... oh wait, there was an add local there. You know what? Let's see. Can we do... Let's see. While I've got like a billion things open here. So if we wanted 30 degrees over the 2 seconds, it would be how much per is the key here. Because you could probably split this up into a math formula to do it by hand, basically. Because you have our 2 seconds here. So where's it divide? Let's see if that's going to be float by float, right? Let's just ignore the fact we can pull that out of there. It would be 30 degrees over 2 seconds, right? Hello, Mr. Calculator. Would that give me the expected result? 30 divided by 2, 15. That will not give me the expected result because we're not going to add 15 per. We're going to do 2 divided by 30. No, that won't give me the expected result. It's because 2 seconds is... Yeah, see, and the problem is we don't know... Crap. Okay, so our timeline is going to spit out a value between 0 and 1. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. Times the... Well, no, we don't. We have this one right here, which is no. What I'm trying will work if we can figure it out, because this is a 0 to 1 track, right? No, because we're gonna add every single time, right? Yeah. Well, timeline outputs whatever the hell I want it to. That's what's nice about it. I could have this be whatever the hell I want, technically. Every time the timeline ticks, I get something. Okay, this is really stupid. No, because see the ad, you're basically going to end up setting it. And trust me, I am, I see exactly what you guys are saying, and I believe you guys are correct. But there's got to be a stupid way of doing this. This is what I'm, oh no, because if it's at 0, because we have technically the duration, right? Where's the, let's see, where's my timeline? Yeah, let's see. Components, timeline. Yeah, see, that's the percentage of it. Timelines should technically update every tick. That is correct. I don't know if they're independent of the actor tick, though. I've never looked into that. Because the actor itself can tick at a different rate. I'll have to look into that. I've never even thought about that before. Yeah, because see, we have the playback position. And that's going to be a value of basically between 0 and 1, which technically is our new track as well, because that's all I'm putting out. So I guess that really won't help. Unless I had something different in there. Or unless... Yeah. I'm glad everyone can hang out and help, and you can view stuff. Well, the problem is I can't do the get world delta, because if I'm running at 120 frames per second, it's going to be different than if I'm running at 12 frames per second. Though they are technically relative to the... Yeah, you know what? That might work. And then just have the timeline basically drive the information. Multiply by 15. But that's gonna... Yeah, it'll always rotate at 15 degrees per second. Yeah, no, you're right about the get world delta seconds. That's the brain just simply not functioning there properly. Yeah, no. There's sometimes it doesn't work, which is most of the time. Right? And we hit Gimbal Lock, it looks like, from the looks of it. Oh, it would probably help if I did play from start. So let me rephrase that and hit Gimbal Lock and play from the start. That definitely doesn't seem like it's working right, though. It seems like way more than 2 seconds, right? Yeah, it's about 4 like seconds. Yeah, it's rotating for 4 full seconds there. Is what we got. Why did it rotate? Oh, because my stupid narrow. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it would help if I had actually set my timeline to the proper value as well. Technically, that's working. In theory. But it seems like it's rotating. No, maybe it's just the shadow. We don't have the ability to interrupt. But, no, Harry might have been on a good answer there. Because, yeah, you can pretty much rely on... Yeah, it's the basic... Oh, stupid thing, come back here. Yeah, because you've got your world delta, so no matter what your frames are, this is going to be your rotation per second. No, that was a very good idea there, Harry. I always forget about that, because this is technically... Something like this is what you use for frame rate independent actions. But in theory, this information in here... You should be able to still pull out of the timeline. That's what the timeline is supposed to work. The timeline's supposed to do. It's supposed to give you this information. We're just... I don't know. We're not doing it properly, I don't think. But that's not really a big deal. In theory, too, if we hit T... And then I hit T again... Yeah, it should be... It should, with the way this is set up here, I don't know if this is obviously what you want or not, Sterling. But it should basically, because it's set to play from start. Okay, so we don't need any of this extra crap. It's funny how there's all that extra crap, and then basically it comes down to something really simple like that. Yeah. Yeah, see, you've got... I mean, yeah, see, shit. There's very good points in there. All of those are very good points. About skipping a tick and not necessarily being 15 degrees. Mainly because you technically don't know how often the timeline fires, which is why I was trying to drive... You could probably still use the timeline properly. I feel safer using timelines, because in theory you're going to get a solid output. This should be changed to something better, probably. Not just a 0 to 1. But Harry brings up a good point about how timelines... I mean, because you technically don't know if the timeline is going to skip, because this timeline is basically going to say, since the last... We fire once, do this, then we fire again. But if this technically gets out of sync with this, you have an issue. Wait, isn't there... Oh, hold on a second. Wasn't there an... Yeah. I could swear there's a way. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, okay, so... Oh, crap. Okay. There's like 5 different ways I'm thinking about this. I still believe there's a way to make the timeline work properly. Here, give me a second. Let me set this to 1. If over 1 second we want 15, so we want to go from, oh, what if we, no, because we're continually adding, that's not, whoa, that's way too tall. Yeah, see, something like that won't work because of the fact that we're going to take the previous values and continue adding. We'd have to subtract the previous values. So we'd want to set, and see that the local, yeah. You're talking about using a lerp on the timeline, right? Not using the, okay, seriously. Harry, are you talking? Yeah, okay. The problem is we can't use the add one if we're doing that then. We'd have to use the set, and the set one seems to have an issue. Yeah, because we can't add. We can't add. We can't do add unless it's basically not going from the beginning to the end. Because I'm assuming you mean something, because we could do a lerp float, for example. I guess that would be just a plain lerp. James, a lerp stands for linear, it's basically linear interpolation. It's going from one value to another value over time. That's what it means. So it's a way for us to go, yeah, and that's what's funny, Harry, what you're talking about right now was kind of what I was thinking about in my head. If I use the timeline to drive this thing between 0 and 15 over 1 second, and then you basically compared the current to where you're going, you could kind of fix itself. I only mentioned the timeline because the only other, I mean, if you, okay, so if you really wanted this thing to be proper, oh, stupid tick. I mean, you're honestly talking about with the delta seconds it fed in, and instead of right here. I mean, you're honestly talking about, I mean, you know, screw it. You know what? T key. That's my stupid variable. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Should tick. Let's see. If even then, I don't even know if this is proper. But if, because the only way you're going to get accurate data on how long it's been since the last time this actor ran is if you use the tick event on the actor itself. Honestly, that's the only way you're going to be able to get the accurate one. Not necessarily. That's what I'm trying to verify right here. That's what my brain. Yeah, the branch condition check always run. But I mean, I know people are always leery about using ticks, but the damn engine is running on a tick. Everything's running on a tick in the first place. Doing a literal Boolean check on tick is not going to kill anything. It should be negligible. People are so afraid to use ticks, but they're there on purpose. They're meant to be used. They're not meant to be abused. You don't want to do a get all actors of class on every tick, for example. I've done that. It screws up AI really quickly, I found out. That's a great way to get stuff down. Yeah, but I'm trying to remember, okay. Hit the T key, we want to start our rotation. And then, yeah, see if Sterling, yeah, so the tick's not really an issue. Our goal here is making sure you get 15 degrees of rotation. And I deleted the effing code that you had written down because my brain deleted it. 15 times get world delta. Okay. So for some reason I did that. Yeah, see, the key is we want to only drive this for 2 seconds, and you could run a timer to reset after 2 seconds, but timers are best guesses. We could accumulate math here, and that would be fine. Okay, I'm going to say this is really, really stupid, but just bear with me if we want to get actual accuracy. Let's see how stupid we can make this in our attempt to get accuracy. Because stupidity tends to work. Start rotation time. What we want? Setter. Oops. We don't want. If it's call this rotation time. Don't need start rotation time. Rotation time. Add. Oops. Context sensitivity. Add float here. Floaty. Okay. Seriously, float plus float. Thank you. Okay. So this will give us our total rotation time at this point in time. If our total rotation time is going to be greater than or equal to our maximum rotation time, so we'll just set this as 2 right here. I have some things, let's move some stuff out of the way for now. This is when we know we've hit our maximum. And the thought process here is when we hit our maximum, set should tick to no, set our final rotation to the proper final rotation. So if we happen to overshoot it by a little bit, we just recorrect it technically the next frame, that minor amount. That's my thought process. So grab our cube, get local. Friggin', okay, seriously, where's my damn rotation node? Thank you. You are a stupid, stupid thing. Not set. How do I type in rotation and it doesn't come back out properly? Get relative rotation. There we go. And variable. So this will be our starting rotation. Right here. And then add rotator. Oh, actually, technically, let's just split, add, because I'm curious to see what's going to happen here on this one. Variable. This will be our ending rotation goal. Obviously move this to the Y because that's what we wanted it. And this is over, so 30 degrees. Okay. And then technically we want to keep these like that. We're just going to add. So we'll move it down because why not? So in theory, we should be able to store our relative rotation and store an ending rotation. You can clamp the result of the multiplication to difference of current rotation and target rotation. Probably. And to answer your question there, Lex, we're trying to do something stupid with rotations. And Sterling, yeah, it's... If you're trying to be accurate, you got to keep it. Accuracy does not seem to be a very important thing in most games. I think that's the issue. For simulations, yes, but for games, I mean, you fudge it. It's good enough. That's basically what it comes down to. Are we greater than or equal to? If we are, we should stop ticking, and we should. Well, honestly, the easiest way to do this is just to grab our cube. This is what I'm curious about. Set local set. Oh, for the love of God! Set rotation. We should be able to do this, right? In theory, I don't know. Let's see what happens. I literally have no idea what's gonna happen. Okay, well, that's the thing I was worried about right there. since we're just putting in numbers, it's going to end up giving us, it's going to snap when it goes past that degree. That's what I was worried about. Yeah. I have a feeling it's due to that, and it's due to this right here. So if we were to grab our starting rotation, combine rotators of 30, and then set any rotation goal like this. Let's see what happens if we do a combine instead of a add plus make. This is what I'm curious about right here. Yeah, see, after you make the rotate, you're talking, well, even when I combine here, it's still going to be the same thing. But if we can't normalize the rotator, it's going to end up giving us not valid values. If it's like set to negative 180 and we normalize it, right? Plus there's no normalize for a rotator, normalize axis. Well, technically, I guess you do that, which is, fuck's sake. See, now if we don't do this, for example, this shouldn't snap. Yeah, see, so this is going to give us our 15 degrees every time. I'm hitting the T button, that's why it's doing it. C++ has a normalize function in the rotator. Well, that would be nice over here. We do have a normalize, but we have it on the axis, vector 2D. Yeah, the only thing we have on a rotator is to normalize an individual axis. So I guess technically we could stick a normalize into what would we do? What would we split this? Oh, it's like, now I'm curious. Would we do something like this for each of them? I mean, would this technically do what we're thinking of? Because that's kind of funny if that's true. I mean, I know technically I don't need to do that. Okay, let's see if that does it, shall we? Oops, it'd probably help if I hook this one back up. I know I can normalize just one pin, but where's the fun in that? Now, see, look. Well, let's assume we normalize only the one pin then. But obviously, we normalized there. So we normalized just the Y before we set it. But it looks like it gave the same result. Yeah, normalizing isn't fixing it. Let's see if we can view the issue here. Rotate something. Here's our cube. Here's our rotational values. See, even then, it's not even an issue. See, it's not even an issue with normalization. We're hitting 60 degrees on the Y, and it's got an issue. So anything above 30 degrees, I'm hitting T consistently. Yeah, see how our Z and our X basically flip over? Oh yeah, are we not adding? Okay, maybe, okay, so maybe I put a bug in here. Okay, that's a possibility. Oh, seriously? Seriously? No, that's not it. No, we are setting it. Every time I push the button, we are setting our starting rotation. So that shouldn't be it. We should be taking our starting and adding 30. So it shouldn't be resetting the starting back to 0, right? Unless the relative rotation is set to 0 because... Let's see. I hate local and relative rotation. I don't know why they have multiple names for the same damn thing. It is ridiculously stupid. The only thing I can think is if we just set the world. I'm not setting the ending rotation. Oops, where'd it go? Where'd it go? I lost it here. I'm setting the ending rotation right here. So I'm setting the start, adding the 30, normalizing, and doing that. So the normalization, I don't think has anything to do with this at all. Yeah, I don't think the normalization has anything to do with it. Here's just simply grabbing our starting and ending. So let's debug. I wonder if this is just actually a stupid bug. Because that's a definite possibility. Ending rotation should be 30 on the pitch. Yep, nope, that's a bug. The ending rotation is always... So our starting rotation is bad. Which probably has something to do with the stupid local rotation. You want to bet? Let's see. Yep, our starting rotation is always starting at 0. This value right here, which I'm setting right here, is always being set. Oh, for the love of fucking... So I just noticed what I did wrong. I'm going to leave it here for a second. And the problem is the starting rotation is wrong. Would anyone like to guess or point out what I did wrong? Yeah, I think Harry just found it. Let's see. Matthew, I have a question. Can you make a falling damage system for the side-to-side scroller character? First of all, what's on the screen right now is just ridiculously stupid that I did that. But falling damage system for a side-to-side scroller character. I might be able to. I have the side scroller right here. Let's see if anyone mentions that issue in the meantime. Where'd the side scroller? I'm assuming the 2D side scroller. Because there's a 2D and a 3D side scroller. Like Harry is pointing out, basically, yeah, I don't know if the side scroller character has... Okay, the side scroller character does have character movement. So, like Harry's mentioning, you have velocity in here. So you can grab the velocity, and that'll tell you how fast it's moving, and you can check and see if the velocity is in the downward direction. And if it is, then it should work. The other one is, since it's a character movement, you should have the is falling as well, and you could technically keep track of time if you want. Set it for basically when they fall. Check the is falling. Set count how long they've been falling for. Once it's at a certain time, keep track of it, and then do damage based on how long they fell. That's the other thing you do. I don't know what the issue is with your some problems with it, but it sounds like you're on the right track. And like Harry's mentioning, you have velocity. So velocity is what you would use to determine how much damage you should take. Basically, how fast did you end up going, or for how long you've been going for. Because you have the is falling. If I can, you have a bunch of things actually in here. I think there's a isn't there a notify event for falling? I want to say there is, but yeah, you'd want to use the falling is what you want to do. Rodrigo brings up another option. You could do a line trace, fire off a line trace of a certain distance. Like for example, right when they begin falling, fire off a line trace of a long distance. See how long that is for the line trace, and then once you hit, you can do damage. For the falling event, I need to check the tick, so I can't set a timer because it resets itself. For the falling event, I need to check with the tick, so I can't set a timer because it resets itself. You could do something similar to what we're doing in the project that went completely banana out of control here. when you start falling, just keep track of on your tick, just keep track of the time. Go ahead and just set your variable here, and then when they land, you reset it. I could swear one of these stupid examples had falling damage. Yeah, like for example, on your tick, check to see if they're falling. If they are falling, start your timer. Have your timer just continually add up, and then go from there. Alex, did you see your question? Let's see if I could find your question, because I may have. Oh, here we go. Do you know why the right mouse click and left mouse click doesn't have executable events? How come you have to use them in only functions? Have executable events. What do you mean by executable events? If you mean just like input events, they should have input events. Pretty sure they have input events. You should have, yeah, right mouse button and left mouse button. Those should work as generic input events, if that's what you're asking. Well, let's see if that's what Alex was asking. Because yes, they do have left and right mouse button input events. Let's see, back to Sterling. Rotate, here we go. Anyways, to answer the question, I've been getting the location of the sphere, not the location, the rotation of the sphere, not the rotation of the cube. So I kind of haven't been actually getting the right rotation this entire time for my starting. So that's kind of a small issue. Yeah, I think Alex left like right when I said the answer. But yeah. So Sterling, this is a giant stupid thing here. But I mean, this will do, whoops, too many deletes. This would do what you want in terms of accuracy. I know it's not the prettiest thing in the world here. But I mean, it's basically once we trigger our event, we say, okay, let's make sure the tick does something. Set our rotation time to 0 because we're starting from scratch. Store our relative rotation of the item, our cube, and then set the ending rotation, the 30 degrees on the Y. So we're caching our starting and our ending. And then all we're doing on the tick is if we should tick, we increase our time. Once we go above 2 seconds, so we know we've been rotating for at least 2 seconds. It could be 2, it could be 2.00001, whatever. We've done at least 2 seconds. At that point, stop ticking and set our rotation to our goal. Yeah, I'm going to go back over it slowly here. I just want to cover that. And then if we haven't gotten to our goal, we're just simply going to add in the delta rotation here. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sterling. Give me a second. I wanted to cover what it did first. So the point here is basically for the time that we're ticking. So here, we'll start from the scratch. And I'll do this. Bloop, like that. There we go. So we'll go with that. So the point here is basically once we start the tick event, or once we start allowing our tick to do something, it's going to rotate for that time limit. Once we hit that time limit, just to be safe, we then lock our rotation back to what our goal was. And it shouldn't be visible to the end user because we're talking probably 1 frame difference. So, you know, what, 16 milliseconds on 60 frames per second? 30 frames per second? 16. 16 is 60, I think. And 33 is 30? Whatever, you're talking a really small number based on whatever frames per second you're firing at. So there's that one. And then here's this one right here. This is the second one. Obviously, it's a little bit disorganized. This is your time limit here, though. And this is the amount of degrees per second you want to fire off right here. So you can obviously expose those as variables or change these to whatever you want. But yeah, basically degrees per second is the number right here and number of seconds to rotate. And obviously you could expose variables and do different rotations, things like that. And I believe since we're using a combined rotators node up here, if you happen to need to rotate more than one axis, it should be fine. Since we're not adding directly to the axes and we're using a combined rotators node, it should be fine. We shouldn't have to worry about gimbal lock. That is what that node is supposed to do. Yes, this seems like it's overkill, but you know, if you didn't want it to be overkill, you fire off a alert node, you add, and then you hope it's close enough. I mean, that's basically what you do. If you want, you know, to go make sure it's frame rate independent, we have this here, which works really well. And this is all completely optional because all this does is lock your rotation at the end to your goal. So, I mean, you could technically get rid of this code, and you could get rid of all of this code if you didn't care about it locking exactly to the 15 degrees. Then don't thank me on this one. This part right here was the clincher here from Harry. I always forget because I try not to use ticks, honestly. But sometimes you're gonna have to if you need the accuracy. That's just how it is. Timelines fire off as best as possible. Lerps fire off as best as possible. Not lerps. Timers fire off as best as possible. There's only so much you could do. Because I mean, if we wanted to get, silly, we could have just fired off a timer and had the timer, you know, go off every 10th of a second or something like that and rotate 1.5 degrees. It would be silly, but it would technically work too. I don't know how accurate it would be. Let's see. So you're, let's see. So for James, activate by the time of the day. Harry, oh, first of all, James, let me add that into my list here. Oh, I already did. So I think I might want to work on that. Oh, yeah. Let me go back a couple minutes to answer that question. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, the days that Epic doesn't stream. So to jump forward back to where we are now, I think I can work on this right here, this day-night trigger, come Wednesday. So I should be able to do this, and then you can either see it or you can see it on the replay. Because I think this would be kind of fun, because it does show event dispatchers, and it does show a decent way of setting up a system that's autonomous. Basically, it takes care of itself. So this one I'll probably work on Wednesday when I stream on Wednesday. DeCapo. I'm gonna go with DeCapo. Can I make a direction calculate for blend space animation? I wish I could, but unfortunately I cannot. I am not an artist, and I have not really touched the animation system. But you should be the default blend space example on Epic's website does handle that, as far as I know. If I could friggin' spell, Jiminy criminy, what a morning. Because that's what I was actually using the earlier. Where's it at? The no, actually, no, I just kind of cheated. Actually, the is it this one? Yeah, if you follow Zach's video here in regards to animation and blend spaces and blueprints, he shows how he sets up the run space right here, the blend space, not the run space. And that's the very core. And he sets up the basic blend space here for a third-person character. This is what I was using when I was doing this the other day. He's also got another video where he shows you how to do the not the 2D, this is the 1D blend space, but he shows you how to do the 2D blend space with the turning and the rotation and stuff like that as well. So this is what I would recommend. Beyond that, I have zero animation knowledge. I literally just watch these tutorials and try to figure it out because I don't do animations. Let's see, James, I'll be here. What time do you start? I start roughly 10 o'clock Pacific, so about an hour and a half before now. I've been streaming for an hour and 35 minutes today. Harry, I do agree. I believe that with a timeline, we had a solution somewhere in sight. It's just because you got to keep in mind with the timeline, and I've done this before, and I don't really remember what I used it for, but I mean, the timelines, you have your float value, which is great, but it doesn't have to be 0 to 1 range. We could have just had it do, 2 or something. I don't really know what it was, but we could have it output anything. Technically, we could even have it output a vector of a certain set of degrees. But the goal was to get this timeline to add rather than set. And I think that's where the issue came in. Couldn't quite figure out the proper values to pull out of the timeline. Yeah. I think the biggest issue here is the add local rotation, the add, not the set, because I think that's where the biggest issue I've always run into. I have a feeling somewhere in the background somewhere. So let's say it was something like this. I have a feeling in the code behind the add, there is a some sort of a rotator or a gimbal check inside of the add. I have a feeling this is in there already, and that's the difference. When you're setting the rotation, you're assuming that your rotation is valid. When you're adding, it basically creates a valid rotation. So I think that's where the issue is. I think the fact that we're using an add instead of a set gets us past our potential locking issues. And the only way I could think of getting our timeline to work was using a set instead of an add. And I'm sure there's a better way of doing it, but I'll be honestly damned if I can figure it out. Because there is a way, and it may have been the whole subtracting thing that you were thinking about. Take the existing values, figure out where you're supposed to go to, subtract the difference, and then tell it to add that difference. So basically, you're always incrementing by the correct amount based on where it's going to. That may have been a good idea as well. The nice thing is, there probably was 3 or 4 different ways of doing this same exact problem. Hopefully this helps Sterling, and we can go from there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to spend any more time on this. Harry, if you happen to come up with something else that may have worked, I'd be more than happy to be interested in seeing it, just because it's more information. I think the checkbox would have it cross the threshold going around like it did. The shortest path. Are we talking about the set? Set relative location. Oops. Which shortest path are we talking about? Checkbox on the rotator loop. Rotator loop. I have no idea. Well, you know what? Let's find out what that does. If I can figure out where I put edge at. There we go. Oh, and I managed to close my stupid stuff. Let's see. Unreal Engine. And what node are we looking at here? Lerp rotator. I wonder where we'll find that at. Lerp rotator. I did hit search, right? Enter. Huh. Well, the enter... Oh, there we go. I would say the enter button certainly wasn't searching. Okay, so it's going to be in the Kismet Math library. So, I wonder what it's called inside of... Let's see. rlerp is what it's called. Okay, so we're looking for the rlerp node inside of the Kismet Math Library CPP file. It's just not going to be the public version of it. I hate finding these things. I hate finding these things. You know what? Actually, we should be able to just. Oh, that would be the completely wrong file there. There we go. Kismet my last library.cpp. Oh look, it's I passed it. I had to have passed it, right? Wait a minute. Okay, we have a header for it. Engine source runtime engine private. Does it not show the? Oh, probably not. Shows the file. That's funny. Let's see. Engine source runtime engine private area. Kismet math library. JK Kismet math library. There we go. Now let's look for the rlerp node. Here's the rlerp node. Okay, so what does shortest path do? If shortest path, we use a quaternion to interpolate instead of using an F rotator. So basically, let's see. So if we don't have shortest path turned on, it returns the A plus the alpha times the delta angle. And if we do have it turned on, then yeah, it uses a lerp basically to turn two quaternions and normalizes it. So, I mean, you know what? You might be right, because I mean, we basically turn them into quaternions, lerp between the two of them, normalize the output, so that would probably prevent any of the wraparound issues, and then it returns it in rotator form. So that might have worked. Oh crap, now you've got me curious. What were we thinking of? We were thinking of the set, right? Let's see what we can break, because why not? Now everyone's got me curious. So what was our thought process? We're gonna lerp on the rotator. Let's see, let's get rid of this extra curve here. And let's add 2 key points. Let's set this to 2 seconds, because I forgot to do that last time. Lerp between 0 and 1 here. 1 second, 1 value. Close that out. Drive that. And we want to lerp between the 2, and then we'll set the rotation. Which would help if I actually grab the item and want to set the rotation on. Like that. Like that, right? Yep, cache the start location, alert between it and plus 30. That was my thought as well. Technically we already have these 2 here, so we can just steal these 2, which is nice. Actually, you know what? We already have the code literally right here. Ah, we could probably just copy it out of here and paste it right here, because we're already doing this right here. There we go, play from start. Okay, so that should cache our starting and our ending. And then let's lerp between our starting and our ending. And let's try not shortest pathing this to see what happens. And this is our Y key. So let's see what happens if we hit the Y key. Okay, so. Yeah, see, and then we start going all crunky on us. It starts going all super funky. Okay. Now let's turn on shortest path. Let's try this again. Yep, that might have done it. It seems like it did it. And it should have valid values as well. So let's grab our rotator. Let's grab our cube so we can watch the values on the right. And besides, obviously, the floating point issues, which you're going to have no matter what. Okay, there we go. Well, okay, so Sterling, through a little bit of perseverance and annoyance and code funkery, looks like we got another way you could possibly do this. So let's see if we can clean this up, because this is ugly. This one technically looks a lot cleaner too. And let me rename this. This is my blurb 0 to 1 trick. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and maximize this one. There we go. Okay. Okay. So Sterling, we might have found another way. So what we have here is basically roughly what we did before. We're storing our start, and then we're storing our end by adding in 30. And this time we're running it through a timeline. The timeline is set over 2 seconds. And it's set to go from 0 to 1 over the 2 seconds. And all we're doing is lerping our rotator and setting the location. This time though, Harry had the brilliant idea of checking this checkbox. And that checkbox apparently actually does all the funky math in the background by converting it from a rotator to a quaternion, and normalizes it and prevents it from having our funky wraparound issues. So if you're not here, here you go. If you are here, here you go. And you can try that. So there's 2 options we figured out that should work. And it seems like it should work. Having this turned on, you should be fine because of the math behind it. Because I mean, if we go back to the if we go back to the website that I closed, so that didn't help. Yeah, the funny part is that little checkbox literally does kind of what we were thinking. It basically, you know, does all that math behind. Okay, so hopefully that's another one. That's funny. You know, and we're gonna be. Let's be honest here. Nowhere in this description does it say what shortest path does. Nowhere here does it say what shortest path does. Literally, you have no information about what shortest path does unless you read through the code and figure it out. That is just silly. But okay, cool. That's 2 of them. Hello, Rolo. The video today was attempting to help people. I think we did 2 things today, didn't we? Oh yeah, we did the swap character mode. Actually, that one came out pretty good. I'm actually happy about that one. Oops. We don't need a map here because yeah, we don't need a map. Okay, stop it. I'm actually happy about this one. I like how that came out. Oh, I think I got rid of my swappy thingy. Ah, crap, I fell out. Yep, I like my little swappy Cody thingy. I think that came out good. Hello, Unreal Engine. You are showing up literally right near the end of today's stream. Which is so Unreal Engine-y of you. Where'd my player controller go? Yeah, let's hook this back up. Yeah, but I think that came out pretty good. We have our little character. We can hit the key. We can swap to a red dude. Swap to a green dude. So basic character select. And then we set it up where we had the trigger. Which of course I did not plug in. So we can go to our trigger and boom, swap to our green guy. If I put the trigger... Where the hell did I put the trigger? Wait, I did put a trigger down, right? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Can I target the trigger? There we go. Did I break my trigger that I literally just hooked up? Oh, because I didn't... Oh, yeah, I completely have, like... I apparently started doing the second version of this code in the middle of it. Because we were kind of in the middle of doing... how can we make this work if we push a button rather than overlapping? Oops. Which is highly amusing. There we go. There's our green dude. Okay, that was fun. Yeah, swappy Cody thingy is what it was. Someone was asking how to do a basic character select screen. So that's why we set it up here. Obviously, this is basic as you can get. But we can spawn in our red dude. We can spawn in our green dude. Or we have a little... Oh, let's switch back to our red dude. We have a little trigger box that swaps to a different character. And then Sterling asked the awesome question, how does he make a box rotate? Which, as silly as that sounds, actually took up, what, half an hour to figure out how to get a box to rotate properly? That is highly amusing. And yes, Harry, I do plan on. I will dig through that. Check out your player controller stuff. I did send you an email, and I did apologize for about how long it took. I looked at the project, and then I got distracted by other stuff. And every time you were on, I meant to tell you I looked at it. But just to follow up, I was very impressed at how it simply worked. You were able to select units. You had your little bit of an effect. You could possess units, and it just simply worked. So I really liked that. I actually went through and was checking out your code for your selecting objects on the screen, looking through it because it uses the HUD class, which isn't something I use most of the time. I don't want to use the HUD class, but it seems like there's a lot of good utilities in the HUD class, like the drawings of lines and boxes and things like that just aren't in UMG, that I should probably take a look at, because it seems like there's, especially for debugging, the HUD class seems like it would be really good for outputting debug stuff. So yeah, no, there was some nifty stuff in there. I thought it was pretty cool. Other than that, we got 2 things covered. We got absolutely 0 things covered on my AI example, which was my goal today and failed miserably at, which is fine. Not a problem. It was literally a stream where people asked questions and I tried to help them out. I'm super happy about that. James is asking, why do you have a leopard on your head? And I have a leopard on my head because I have no other cats to put on my head. I have a frog, and I had something else, but I lost that one. But that would be why I had a leopard on my head, because it was cold and that was my hat. I've tried other pictures also, but that one seems to resonate most of the people. It seems to get the most recognizability. Most easily recognized, so I keep it like that. Okay, so yeah, that's going to wrap up today. We've gone almost 2 hours. I appreciate everyone for hanging out. I hope we had a lot of people streaming. Okay, you know what? Learning Man, I did mention that. I did ask Learning Man to mention that again later. Let's see if we can quickly help him out with that one. Start and stopping a noise by pushing a key. So a little bit more information on that one, Learning. What do you mean by pushing a key? Like, I just simply hit the I key on the keyboard and a sound starts, and then I hit the I key again and the sound stops? Because those are fairly simple. What context do you want this to be in? Social awareness for AIs, NanoPan. I actually have that on my list, and I hopefully we'll be working on that this week or next week for AI. Probably next week for something like that. But let's go with where is my here? See, I have pretty sure this is my older. Yeah, this is my older one for the Game Jam examples, which I don't. Yeah, I had something in here for sound, so no, we're not going to use that one. We'll go back to our playground. I had music started when opening a level, and when I push a button, it should stop. That's pretty simple. Let's see. Start, stop, sounds. It sounds to me like you might be using the level blueprint to do some of this stuff rather than somewhere else to keep references. So let me delete that. Let's do a new level. Let's go ahead and save our current level. Start, stop, sounds, map. James, yes, whenever this is all streamed to the 3 different places, Twitch, Beam, and YouTube, and after a little bit, all 3 of them will keep archives of the videos. So this is honestly start, stop, game mode. Probably how I'm going to go about doing this the easiest way. And I'll show you this here in a second. So let's grab our blueprints. Let's grab our character and copy him into here. Let's make a new player controller. stop. Let's grab our game mode. Let's set up our game mode and properly set it up this time. Unlike last time where I did not, because that was just silly. I don't think I even named the new guy, did I? Nope. Start, stop, character. Go back to our game mode. Put it back in here. Start, stop, character. Save this. Close everything. Up. I think I closed the project. No, I just hit the project. I can close everything, right? There we go. Okay, so go back to our map. Tell it to use our new game mode. Hopefully I was smart enough to remember this time. And there we go, player controller and start stop character. Okay, so we have our basics here. Now, you had music started when you open the level, and then when you pushed a button, it should stop. So if I was gonna have music started when I opened up a level, more than likely I'd either have like a music manager or I'd have my game mode control stuff that's playing. So for example, we'll do this really simply and we'll have our game mode play sound. And if it's music, it's usually something that's going to be like 2D, so you don't have to worry about like positional audio. Now, I doubt I have something I can play as music. So let's see. Oh wait, do I have my game jam entry on here somewhere? I don't think I do. I don't think any of these have music, do they? Well, let's see if the platformer has music. Because, oh no, the landscape. Yeah, I can steal the music from the landscape. I know there's music in there. It's really cool when you're flying. You're flying through a really cool mountainous area on a hang glider, and there's really nice subtle music in the background. But since I have this open, let's see if we can steal music from here. Seriously? Thank you. Let's see. Chatter, look, crashing, music. So there is music in here somewhere. Seriously? They probably organized. Let's see if they organize this better than I would. Ah, music. Look, they have a folder called music. Well, that was smart. Let's see. This one is 100 seconds long. That's perfect. Whoa. That was loud. Let's mute that from happening again, shall we? Migrate. So let's take this music and migrate it out to my D drive, which of course is the only one not showing here. Wait a minute, where's my D drive? This is the E drive. See what happens? I get lost. No, my D drive's missing. Wait a minute. No, C drive. Okay, I have too many drives. I keep forgetting my D drive's something else. Let's see. Playground 414. Content. Okay, so we should have music exported now. Somewhere in here. Should be a music folder. Sounds. There we go, music. Okay, cool. So we have music in here. Let's find our file again. Where did I put it? What do we call it? Start, stop, sounds. Here we go. So go back to our game mode. We'll go play sound 2D. I'll just pick our music, which I don't even think it was called music. Oh, it was. Okay, cool. So, in theory, okay, we got really loud. We got really loud music. You guys might not be able to hear it, but we've got loud music. Actually, here, let me. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear some basic music in the background, because I have desktop audio muted and that was really loud. Okay. And actually, let me, there. Now the stream music is stopped, and now we should have just the game music playing. Okay, cool. So we have music playing. Now the key here is, if you're going to play a sound like this, you're going to fire and forget it, you're going to have an issue. The play sounds like these that are 2D location, if you notice it says they're fire and forget. They are not intended to basically be stopped. They don't have an audio source or a way to keep track of them. You need to basically either attach the sound using an audio component, or you need to spawn in the sound with an audio component. So if we had something like an audio on our game mode, This is our audio component right here. This controls audio, and if you notice, there's a place for sound. So we could actually do something like grab our audio component and set sound. This will tell it to check the music right here. This will tell it to set that sound. So now we have an audio component that has sound attached to it. If we hit play, well, nothing, because we're not playing it. We should be able to play, and this should play our music. Now our game mode is in control of our music. So in theory, if we were to do a delay of like 2 seconds, this, whoops, not delete, but move, grabbed our audio again, tell it to stop, and spelled stop properly, like that. There we go. Let's unhook this because that looked ugly. Do it like that. There we go. We should get music for 2 seconds, and then it stops. So this is your basics right here. I think your issue was you probably just played a sound but didn't actually have a way of keeping track of it. Your audio component is the easiest way of doing it. It'll let you play and do one sound. So for music, that's generally what you want. I mean, this is your basic system. There's other ways of doing it. You can use mixers and cues. You can spawn sounds and keep track of them after they spawned. But for basic stuff, you have this. Now, our game mode is what's controlling everything. So if we go to our character, and I'm going to put this in the player controller, because I like putting controls in the player controller. And we'll just do this really simple. We'll do a 1 key. Whoops. We'll do a 1 key. And we'll do a 2 key. And this is going to get the game mode. We're going to cast it to our start-stop game mode. Like that. And then we are going to do something. So copy this over here, paste it into here. And that's our basics. Let's move this down a little bit. There we go. We need to actually... well, there should be sound. When I do this, it may not be very loud. You know what? I'm going to turn my desktop audio back on. Hopefully this doesn't hurt. Now you should definitely hear sound. Or should have heard sound. I'm going to get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay. We're going to make a custom event. We'll call this one Play the Music. And we'll make another one called Stop the Music. And hopefully, based on the code we did up here a little bit ago, this should be pretty simple. We'll grab this stuff, put it under play. And then we'll grab audio, which of course I deleted it. So that was funny. And we'll tell it to stop. We'll hook it up. And we'll hook it up. There we go, like that. Okay. So now we basically have 3 things. The game starts. We're going to set up our sound, which is our music, and tell it to play. If we call play the music, it's going to go ahead and just play the music, starting from the beginning. And if we tell it to stop, it's going to go ahead and stop the music. So now we go back to our player, and we have our 2 events right here. 1 key does something, 2 key does something. 1 key is going to play the music. As soon as here we go, call function play the music. It would help if I just typed it all the way out, stop the music. There we go. And 2 will do stop the music. So now, in theory, we hit play. Should have music. I hit the 2 key. Music stops. Hit the 1 key. Music starts. Hit the 2 and 1 key alarm. And just annoys everyone who's listening. So that's the basics of it. There are more advanced techniques for music, but I think the biggest key here is the audio component is basically what's used to play the sounds. And if you use your traditional play sound node, which a lot of people do, and it's fine if it's going to be a one-shot. I fire a bullet, well fine, play a sound, not an issue there. I pick up a coin, I hear do-do-do-do sound, play a sound, not a problem. But if you need to control it, then you need to get access to the actual sound once you've done it. Your other option here, besides using an audio component, is to use the spawn one, which you can see right here, because this gives you an audio component that it's going to create just for this sound. So this is an audio component attached to the game mode, so you can control it. that one's going to persist. This is an audio component that's created when you need it. So for example, we could have our, music here. And these two things are roughly going to be the same. And here's your audio output, for play or stop or whatever you want to do. The difference is this one keeps track of the one that's built in right here. This one creates one that you have to do something with, So you probably do like promote to variable. You go like, my awesome music audio component. Something like that. So hopefully that helped out the person who asked. Learning Mad. Yeah. And then in regards to your question was, once you learn that stuff with a key, you should be able to do it with a button. It is literally the exact same thing. When you're inside your user interface, in this case, I would just simply talk to my game mode and tell it to start or stop the music. Same thing. As long as you have somewhere that controls your stuff and you have a way of getting a hold of that stuff, that's how you do stuff. I know it's a lot of stuffs, but stuff is interchangeable. As long as you have a way of getting a hold of your controller, you can talk to your controller. As long as you have a way of getting a hold of your audio component, you can talk to your audio component. Stuff is interchangeable. It's all about the practice of using that stuff. So I'm going to finish this up with just a basic screenshot. Well, not screenshot, but so you can see the stuff. Hopefully it's clear enough. But yeah, we have an audio component. Those are easy enough. Just add them. Any of your actors and your blueprints, for the most part, can have an audio component attached. I personally chose the game mode because the game mode is persistent through your map. It's an easy thing to get to because anyone can talk to the game mode by simply getting the game mode and casting to it. And it's kind of a centralized place where you can have things happen in your game. Easy place for things to get a hold of it. So I just set the sound, so it's our music one, and tell it to play because you had it play on start. And then two simple events that simply tell the audio to play or tell the audio to stop. And then inside of my player controller, I'm simply telling the game mode to play or stop the music. So hopefully that should help. Now, I promise we're actually going to end. I appreciate everyone for hanging out. Hopefully the people who asked for help got some help. Anyone who did ask for help and I missed your questions, I'm sorry. Today I actually scrolled by pretty quickly, but I think I got most people. Wednesday, we had a request to do something, so I'm probably going to do that day-night event dispatcher cycle on Wednesday, and then hopefully clean up some AI stuff if I get a chance to. If you need help or looking for an answer to a question or something like that, ask it during the stream. It's the easiest way. If I can help, I try to do it. If not, you can comment on YouTube. You can send me an email, which is in the About section on YouTube. You can add a request on the Google Doc, which is in the About section on YouTube. Twitter, Beam, Twitch, feel free to hit up any of those. Tomorrow is Tuesday. It is the Epic stream. So they'll have a lighting on with Alan Noon, which will be friggin' awesome because these people are way too smart. And lighting is always a big one. So that'll be tomorrow, but I'll be back Wednesday around 2 o'clock Pacific. That's roughly 2 hours before now. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and mute the stream for about 30 seconds. So that way I don't just poof and disappear. Everyone else have a good rest of your day or evening or night or afternoon or space time.